Let's go back to Billboard's Hot 100, April 30th, 1966, from Mr. DJ. I explored it a few nights ago, and I just can't let this one go. Too many great songs. We're talking about 1966, one of the prime cut years. On this Hot 100, we get into the top 40. Got Message to Michael by Dionne Warwick at number 18, up from 32 previous week. Rhapsody in the Rain by Lou Christie. I got to talk about that one. That was a fantastic record. One of his best at number 31, 16 from 31 the previous week. The Shapes of Things by the Yardbirds. Man, he used to jam out on that record. I had the album. I had that album. Another song off that album was Mister, You're a Better Man Than I. God, these guys, they were way ahead of their time. They were actually a little bit ahead of the curve than the Beatles, a little bit ahead of the Beatles a little bit. Shapes of Things by the Yardbirds. Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35 by Bob Dylan. Gosh, another big jump from 38 to number 14 on Billboard's Hot 100, April 30th, 1966. But I want to get into this laid-back record as a country record. Well, it was a country record. Ray Charles, Together Again at number 19, up 10 from 29 previous week. And Buck Owens did that record. He took it to number 1. Actually, I think he wrote it. Buck Owens took it to number 1 on country in 1964. The album from whence this song came from is Country and Western Meets Rhythm and Blues. Ray Charles, produced by Sid, I believe his name was Sid Feller. Let me double check. It's either Sid Fuller or Sid Feller. I believe it's Sid Feller. I believe that's his name. And indeed it is, Sid Feller. Sid Feller, who joined, well, he worked with Capitol Records, and he switched over to ABC Paramount Records around 1955, and he worked with Paul Anka, worked with Steve Lawrence. He met Ray Charles, and they collaborated on, in 1962, they collaborated on the album Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music, which featured one of Ray Charles's biggest hits, Can't Stop Loving You. And Georgia on My Mind, also produced by Sid Feller. Here's the thing about this album that came out in 1962. Sid Feller did some major research for this album. Modern Sounds of Country and Western Music. He submitted to Ray Charles 250 songs. Take your pick. And Ray Charles, he did some picking. A lot of the songs that he picked, he didn't recognize except for Bye Bye Love. And they came up with that album, Modern Sounds of Country and Western Music. And this album right here from 1966, actually it was released in 65. He covers the Buck Owens record, and he covers, if I remember correctly, he covered 2 songs by Hank Williams on the Modern Sounds and Country and Western Music, including Hey Good Looking. Ray Charles, very versatile guy. He covered the song Watch It Baby, which was written by Percy Mayfield on this album, Country and Western Meets Rhythm and Blues studio album. But the album was also called Together Again. I know it sounds confusing, but that's kind of the way it's laid out. He covered a song called Watch It Baby, written by Percy Mayfield. Percy Mayfield, who also wrote I Can't Stop Loving You. Blue Moon of Kentucky. He covered that song on that album. Ray Charles did. Originally, it was written by Bill Monroe. Of course, Elvis did a big version of that back in the mid-50s. And he covered another song by Buck Owens called I Don't Care. Oh my goodness, he covered I Got a Tiger by the Tail, written by Buck Owens. And on this album, Ray Charles at number. Let's see if there's anything else I need to mention about this record. Together Again by Ray Charles. Well, let's go into the chart position of this record. It wasn't one of his biggest hits. It's lost 45. The top 10 hits pretty much dried out for Ray Charles by the mid-60s. But Together Again did respectably well. I mean, he's up against the British invasion. He's up against the regeneration of Motown, which really, Motown just got stupendous in 1964, 65 and 66. So we'll take it at number 19 for Ray Charles, Together Again. It was on Billboard's Hot 100 for 2 months. Ray Charles with this version of Buck Owens, Together Again.